I'm Mario the Maker Magician, and you're watching Magicians Talking Magic.
Today on Magicians Talking Magic Live, have you ever wanted to be in a writer's room? We have a special experience to tell you about.
If you want to exercise your brain a little bit and join us for a writing room session.
Mario the Magician is here to talk all about making for online.
Don't ignore what you love right now.
Plus, Peter Mennie is here with your weekly business tip. All this and more on today's Magicians Talking Magic Live.
From the world, thank you for being here. And this is...
My name is Grimazing, and thank you so much for tuning in to Magicians Talking Magic Live. This is our fun little broadcast show where we interview magicians from all over the world, sharing amazing and interesting stories. We've covered people like Scott Boyd, who 3D prints masks. We have showcased people like Josh Janowski, visual effects artist. Joyce, we've had some top people as well.
So many. We chatted with David Penn, we had Nick Lewin, Ray Anderson. It goes on and on. Kyle and Misty. That interview is going to be live soon, also on magicianmasterclass.com. So we've had so many conversations, and it's interesting here. Everyone's different perspectives on what they think the future of our industry is. So, and we've heard from the cruise industry all the way down to close-up magic, all sorts of opinions. So very interesting, very interesting. And today we have lots of different things we're going to chat about. This is a special live stream edition. We're changing up the format, kind of going once a week, and bringing you some deeper dive into some really interesting topics that we thought were probably the most interesting of the week, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. If you've been following along with what we've been doing at Magicians Talking Magic, we started by doing a daily morning live news show with interviews, and it's just the two of us. It's just the two of us that make this content. It's a lot of work, but we wanted to still create an incredible product for all you magicians and still have these awesome interviews and share them. So we've decided to do this once a week, Wednesdays at noon, to try and grab more people, give more people the ability to watch and tune in to hear all these amazing stories from all over the world, right?
Yes, and you chatted with someone that we've wanted to chat with for months on the podcast. You got a chance not only to chat with him in person, you got to, you're not in person, but through audio, you got to see and chat and see his set and all the background and be part of his experience. That is, of course, Mario the Maker Magician, who triple snaps for Mario.
Oh my gosh, and we're going to get to the full interview, but first we have our daily trivia question, or our weekly trivia question, I guess. Here's the trivia question of the day. What is the name of Mario the Maker Magician's pet bird? If you're a fan of Mario the Magician, you would know this answer, but maybe you're going to have to take a guess. Is it A, Tony Clifton? Is it B, Tangerine? Is it C, Mozzarella? Or is it D, Gnocchi? Do you know the answer? Do you know the answer to this trivia question? Stay tuned watching the show, and we will get to that soon. First of all, we would like to quickly recap what we did last Friday, which was Michael Paul's Magic Touch, and we had a special guest, Jeff Hobson, on board. And through some of the questions, Marvin Roy came up, and this was what a bunch of the guests, Alex Ramon and Jeff Hobson, shared their thoughts on Mr. Electric, Marvin Roy.
Marvin, he came up to me.
Now wait, for people at home, tell them who that is.
Jeff, why don't you do that? Because it's Jeff's your venue. Jeff's theater is dedicated to Marvin Roy.
I'll try and make it as brief as possible. Marvin Roy, he just had his 95th birthday on this April 1st. He was one of the pioneers in cabaret magic in the world. He performed for well over 3 or 4 decades overseas. He was a World War II double Purple Heart recipient. He was many times on the Ed Sullivan Show, 7 years touring with Liberace, and he was known as Mr. Electric. And everything he did was electricity orientated, and did many other acts. And he's performed for, literally anywhere that's important in the world, he did it. And he's a great man, and he knows nothing about anything except his love for magic. He talks about 24/7.
Yeah, and Marvin, the amazing thing about his act is when he was doing this, This was before lithium batteries. This was before LEDs, and he produced lit light bulbs at his fingertips, which is completely insane and something so magical for people to see at that time is what got him all around the world. He was just such a unique act. He was the only act that would fill in for Siegfried and Roy in Vegas.
That was a look at Jeff Hobson and Alex Ramon sharing their thoughts on Mr. Electric Marvin Roy. We're going to bring Ryan back into the show shortly. We just have some technical difficulties behind the scenes. But one more thing Jeff Hobson shared was his first time he was magically touched and his last time he was magically touched. Ryan is here, and he's going to kind of share... Oh, hold on 1 minute. Yeah, Ryan, do you have a thought on this whole thing?
I just got back, so I don't know what happened. Like, totally got kicked out there. I didn't hear the lead in, but I heard a little bit about Hobson and talking about Marvin Roy. Was that what this was the clip?
We played the clip, yeah. So we just watched the Marvin Roy clip, and now we're about to dive into the first and last time he was magically touched.
Oh, I'm a little sappy. First time I stepped on stage, when I was 11, my first show at 11 years old in my garage, opened it up, charged a dime to each kid. That was special. The last special time I stepped on stage, for the final time at the Sydney Opera House after 7 years of The Illusionist. It was sort of special that day. So it was really cool.
Well, today we're also going to be doing something really unique. This is a little last minute, but as you know, if you're a listener of the podcast or any of the live streams we've been doing, the pizza party or the late night things, we started a new show last week with Michael Paul, who is an acclaimed comedian, a ventriloquist. You've seen him on AGT, and he's written for all the late night shows, SNL. He's written for Real Time with Bill Maher, Late Night with David Letterman. Well, we decided, because we've got these little late night things every Friday at 10 p.m., we're creating content for that show, and we thought, well, why don't we bring people that are interested in the process, bring them in? And so today at 1 p.m., just after our live stream here, we're going to be hosting a Zoom call that is basically inside the comedy writers room. So it's a limited reservation. There's going to be myself and Graham and Michael will be sort of hosting the whole thing and working through the material that we've prepared for the week. And if you want to contribute, or if you just want to be a fly on the wall, this is our first time, so we're also going to be learning as we go here. And we're sort of refining it for next week as well, because I think this is something we want to do on the regular. What do you think?
I think this is going to be very interesting and so much fun to bring magicians in on the writing process of some jokes and the scripting, especially for Michael Paul's Magic Touch, because it's also a real treat to get to work directly with Michael Paul, who's worked with so many people. So this is a real treat. If you can subscribe, it happens almost not immediately after this. You have some time to grab some lunch.
We're almost full too, so we've had very limited reservations for this one. We wanted to keep it to 20 people or less, and we're already at, I think, 16. So there's really not a lot of spots left. But you're welcome. And make sure jump on the opportunity next week, because we want to keep it nice and small and tight. And you also have to have an open mind. Right, and you have to understand this is comedy. There's going to be adult language, and there's going to be, adult themes. We do have to make that preface. This is for adults, and none of the joke content is, directed to be intentionally upsetting. But this is the writing process, so anything could be said.
Should we, before yesterday when we were talking about offering this idea or coming up with this idea, I think you guys actually came up with this. We talked to Michael Paul about what it's like to be in a writer's room. You want to share that with everybody?
Let's do that. This is a great clip.
Every writer's room is different depending on the genre. Sometimes everyone works on one project. Sometimes one person is assigned a different thing, brings it into the room, and then everybody kind of helps flush it out. There's always a guy that the bit guy, the guy that comes up with the topic and we flush it out. The guy that is the joke writer that inserts all the gags or the one-liners. Someone brings a topic and then we kind of build on that. And there's someone in the room, the head writer, who kind of creates the structure so to help everyone mine it out. Trying this new thing about Late Night Magic Touch, obviously we're trying not to to do the same thing that every show does, a monologue and whatnot, but we still want certain good writing facets, and we thought it'd be really fun, not just for ourselves. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to get free material, but what else is everyone doing? You know, I think anyone who is creative, you know, if you don't have an ego, you know, or at least a healthy ego, can kind of spitball with everyone and play tennis back and forth. So, you know, if you want to exercise your brain a little bit and join us for a writing room session, and we can kind of create the topics. And, you know, look, you know, there's things that I've written for many, many years, and you need another brain to think of it in a different way, to do a slight adjustment. So I think it was a great idea to try to open it up to people to participate.
And there's only, I think, like 3 or less spots left available to register for this. Like Ryan said, it is limited. So if you go right now to Magician Masterclass, you can subscribe and sign up for this one-of-a-kind experience. Right, Ryan?
Absolutely. And don't forget to tune in Friday at 10 p.m. And you might see some of the user-submitted jokes and some of the material that we work out here. Well, you will see. That's the whole intent. You're literally sitting in on the process. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Tune in Friday at 10 p.m. Late Night Magic Touch with the one, the only Michael Ball.
Absolutely. Got to make sure that you tune in. Now, just yesterday, I got to have a virtual interview, as we all do now, with one of my magical heroes, Mario the Magician. And one thing that he's doing, if you have not heard yet, I heard from some of our viewers and listeners when we first talked about Maker Camp. That was the first time they heard about. But here is Mario the Magician talking about Maker Camp and how great it is for not just kids but parents too. You are so busy. I mean, you were very busy beforehand with your punk rock and roll magic style tour going across the states and even up into Canada and everything and lecturing. But now you seem to be even busier online with this unbelievable Maker Camp that seems absolutely incredible for families and kids globally right now.
Yeah, I feel really lucky. Make magazine, Make has changed my life early on, got me into 3D printing and programming with their Make magazine. I would have never dreamed all these years later to be an MC for their Family Maker Camp, brand ambassador. You know, we're trying to push the young and young at heart to get into making as early as possible. And what's so powerful about Family Maker Camp right now is that all kids are stuck at home. And like, there's a lot of parents that have never homeschooled before. You know, we've been homeschooling for 2 years because we travel full time with our family, you know? So it's just so exciting for us as a family, Katie and I both, to be able to give back and like encourage parents. And then we have the Maker Parent Happy Hour on Wednesdays where parents can come in and ask questions. And so it's been a real, as much as it's been a downtime for so many people, we're trying to flip it positive.
And it is all about staying positive right now, and there's so many activities at Maker Camp, from magic tricks to puppets to science projects to music, sing-alongs, and dance games. But we do have daily trivia today, and we will remind you of that trivia question because it relates with our special guest today, Mario the Magician. And that question is, what is the name of Mario the Maker Magician's pet bird? Ryan, did you know this before you saw?
I didn't. When you sent me the board, I got it wrong. I was all wrong.
All right, well,
Tony Clifton, A, tangerine, B, mozzarella, C, or D, gnocchi.
And we will get to that answer. We still have a couple more sound bites.
Or is it gnocchi?
Gnocchi. I think it's gnocchi. I don't know. If you know below, comment below, but phonetically.
There's 2 C's in it, though.
Did I do it wrong? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyhow, I might have done
Comment below what do you think the answer is. We'll let you know what the real answer is at the end of the episode. He's so fascinating. You have another clip from Mario as well.
Yeah, he was taught. So he's big into live streams, and I think out of a lot of us, he's translated his character into live stream fantastic, like smooth and perfect. And one thing that he talks about is he didn't know that he was going to pick up the guitar again and start playing music. And he talks about all those talents and skills that you have and just do the things that you know, he says it best. Here he is.
I spent my 20s playing in a punk band, just screaming in a microphone, making no money, you know, like I just love eccentrics, you know, as you can, you know my life. I have like I got a freaking like talking robot table sitting right next to me that I can ask questions and be like, Mr. Table, are you excited to be here? You know, and he'll like answer sometimes. And sometimes, there it goes. He's I guess, but yeah, I mean, the idea is like, the idea is like finding what you love, no matter how far reaching it is from where you're at, and just pushing towards what you love right now, like don't ignore what you love right now, and so like, and it goes back to the whole music thing. There was a time in my life where all I played was music. I never did a single magic trick. I didn't get into magic till I was 22, but then I just dropped the guitar, and it's been 12 years. I haven't touched a guitar. And all of a sudden, the skills that I learned all the way back then that I thought were forgotten are one of the most essential things that have helped me get work in a time where I desperately need it, So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that like every talent you learn in your life will never get wasted. You'll always it'll always come back where you're going to need it, and that's something early on. Someone told me that was a lot older than me when in my teens, was like, you never waste talent that you learn. Like you're going to end up seeing how your story is going to unfold, and you're going to end up using it in a way that you never thought.
And that is true. One thing, never we're going to be working and trying out all these different ideas right now. We've been experimenting with live streams. We gain all these new talents and skills. None of it's wasted. You never know when those things will come back. I gave up broadcasting. Here we are, broadcasting again. There's one more thing. So we talk a lot about business and what people are doing in their downtime. And I asked Mario what he's doing with his downtime and his business. And of course he would have an eccentric answer to this. Here's Mario.
What's exciting is that I have a room full of broken robots that have never made it into my show. So like I have this robot dove that I built like 2 years ago out of a pizza box, Arduino, so now I'm doing like a dove switch. Like I produced a robot on camera, it turns into the real bird. I showed you the robot table. I mean, I have this drum machine. I always wanted this in my show. I just brought it back to life. It does drum rolls on command.
That's amazing.
And like if I say a joke, it could do a rim shot, like blah, 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 punchline. So like these are things that I'm bringing back to life, which I'm excited about. And I think a lot of us magicians are doing that, where we're relooking all these old routines that didn't work. I read a quote, I don't know if it was Mark Twain, that said something about if a cat touches a hot stove, it will never touch a hot stove again. But that same cat will never touch a cold stove either, And that kind of reminded me, because there are times in our life when we perform a certain trick, we get burned really bad and we throw it out. And really, it could have just been this unique situation that would have never happened again, and you're missing out on this big opportunity, So these are all my cold stoves. Trying to like see how I can possibly adapt it into my show currently.
I get a chance to listen to the entire interview with Mario the Maker Magician for members of Magician Masterclass. That's going to be posted this week in the Inner Circle, so make sure to join. It is totally free. It takes like 2 clicks. Oof, that's a lot of clicks. And you'll also get the extra benefits of being in touch with all the fun and unique events we'll be doing throughout the week, like Writer's Room and Late Night Magic Touch.
And you know what? Before we reveal that trivia question of today, if you know the name of Mario the Magician's bird, if you have a guess, comment below. We'll see if you can get it right. Before we get there, we have one more thing. We have a business tip from regular friend and viewer of the show, Peter Mennie, who always has incredible advice. And this is one that maybe we didn't actually think about when, kind of all the work stops.
Solid tip.
I got another great tip for you, something we've probably forgotten about in the last month or so, but since we're not going to be performing in the next little while, at least live, don't forget to take your batteries out of all of your electronic gear, out of your wireless microphones, out of your packs, even these little guys here, the little remotes. At the end of the summer, or hopefully sooner than that when we all get back together, get in front of our audiences, we don't want to discover that these batteries have leaked. And because this equipment is very expensive to replace.
that is one thing that I do all the time after my shows, is always remove my batteries. This is a TV production thing. You always pull the batteries out and you either recharge them or you put them away for that specific reason of possible leakage or it destroying your expensive gear. You just got to pull it out. It's just practice. And you should do that with your show anyhow. When you're done your show, bring it out, put everything away. Right, Joycey?
I cannot tell you how many times I have surprise opened the battery chamber to see all sorts of fuzzy white stuff. So take those batteries out. That is definitely a great tip from Peter Mennie. If you have a business tip that you want to include, you want to be included in our weekly live stream edition, let us know. You can do that by uploading a video, magicianmasterclass.com/upload.
And we still have to reveal our trivia question of the week.
We do.
And that is, what is the name of Mario the Magician's pet bird? If you made a guess, were you right? The answer is C, mozzarella. That's
mozzarella.
The mozzarella. And I think I saw in a recent stream, mozzarella is still with us. I think mozzarella's just getting on the older side now. But that is the name of Mario the Magician's pet bird, mozzarella. Triple snaps for mozzarella, everybody. Triple snaps.
Mozzarella.
Coming up this Friday, besides Michael Paul's Magic Touch, which happens at 10 p.m., which will be a treat for everybody. Last week was ridiculous with Jeff Hobson, Alex Ramon, and Matt Marcy. We still have yet to reveal the whole guest lineup. As you know, cards subject to change with these sorts of things. And with the current
we should reveal the topic, though. It's Partners in Magic is the topic this week. So we have 2 of the 3 guests scheduled, and I think we're just real close to getting the last one in any second here. I wish we could give breaking news, but make sure to register. Sorry to cut you off, but I wanted everybody to know that we've got 3. It's going, hopefully.
If you subscribe to the content, you will get the late breaking news as it happens. Most likely, you're very fast. Excuse me. That's just allergies, guys. I'm totally fine. But one more thing that we have coming out Friday is our weekly podcast, and we've been doing a at-home kind of this coronavirus work, like what you can do, 6-part series. We've done 4 episodes so far that have been very business oriented, and last week's was probably our most downloaded episode we've ever done, which is all about live streams, because you get the behind the scenes look of how we're doing things here with the Touch Portal app that I'm using down below, the OBS thing that makes this work, and how we do it. And to be honest, it's an ever-changing thing, but this week we're leaving the business on the back burner, and we're going to talk all creative stuff, because we have this downtime, and we now have the ability to research, script, and rehearse or practice our shows or a whole new act if we want. We're going to talk about that whole thing from the ground up. Ryan, do you have some ideas on this?
It's going to be a fun episode for us because most of the time over the last 2 or 3 months, we've been focusing on what people can do in their business. So I'm really excited to chat a little magic on this one, or at least a little magic creation, sort of reveal each of our own processes and share that with you. So I think it's going to be fun. So tune in Friday. We release it sometime in the late afternoon. Our schedule has gotten super busy these days. So do be patient, but it is Fridays. And make sure to leave us a 5-star review on wherever you hear podcasts. Magicians Talking Magic podcast.
And if you watch the show and you know off the top you see a magician say, "Hey, I'm so-and-so," and you're watching the show, you can submit that. You can send that to us at magiciantalkingmagic.com/upload. If you have a trick that you like to be featured on our weekly episode, you can submit that in the exact same place too. But today we don't have a viewer trick, but Joyce, I have a trick for you. This isn't planned. You have no idea about this, but we're going to try this. This is virtual magic at its best, okay? We'll try this. I've got a playing card. Do you know what card it is?
I do not.
Take a guess.
7 of clubs.
Nailed it. Guys, that's been our episode today of Magicians Talking Magic Live. My name is Grimazing.
My name is Ryan Joyce.
Tadoozle.
Showblasm.
Thank you so much.